Hey guys, it's Cory from CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, and I just saw Mary, Queen of Scots, written by Beau Willimon, based on the original book by John Guy, and directed by Josie Rourke. So I caught this flick, it was date night, saw this with Rachel and Rob and Roxy. We went out to the Edwards Alhambra Theater, which is owned by Regal, and I will say this, go to Regal LA Live a lot. It's a wonderful theater, it's first class all over the place. The Edwards Theater in Alhambra is not as nice. It feels more like the regular multiplex you go to. But the benefit of going there is that it is cheap. It was like $7 or something like that for a ticket, as opposed to $17 that you would be paying at Regal. And that to me is worth the trip and worth seeing it at a, I don't want to say lesser theater because it's perfectly fine. It's more than acceptable. It just doesn't have all the same bells and whistles as sort of like a premiere theater like the Regal LA Live does. But if you're in the LA area, you want to see a movie, you don't want to break the bank, you're not doing any kind of AMC or you can't do MoviePass because MoviePass doesn't do anything anymore. But if you wanted to go see a movie on the cheap, definitely go check out the Edwards Alhambra because it fills a very much needed void in the theater landscape here out in LA. On to Mary, Queen of Scots. This movie touches on sort of the pursuit of the throne. So it talks about Queen Elizabeth I, played by Margot Robbie, and Mary, Queen of Scots, who is obviously the Queen of the Scottish territory of the United Kingdom, and the desire for Mary to become queen once Queen Elizabeth dies, and that's about it. It's palace intrigue. I think the thing about Mary, Queen of Scots is that it has all the pieces you would think you need to make a tremendously compelling, period film here. You got Margot Robbie, you got Saiorse Ronan, you got Beau Willimon. All of these people are aces at what they do. Obviously, Beau from writing on House of Cards, and don't need to explain Saiorse Ronan or Margot Robbie to anybody, but it just felt like you had a ton of incredibly fast race cars. And I said to you, hey, we're going to go to the track. I'm bringing all my cars. We're going to have some fun today. And you get all excited because you're like, oh my God, we're going to drive around this Lamborghini and this Ferrari and this Porsche, and we're going to go around the track, and it's going to be incredible. And we get there, and I show you all my cars. I show you my line of cars. And you get even more excited. You're like, oh my God, here we are. This is it. It's ready to happen. And then as soon as we get on the track, you get shotgun, you buckle up, you're ready to go, you're ready for me to really unleash it, and we're just doing 40 miles an hour around the track. It just feels like the best of what you have was not fully realized with Mary, Queen of Scots. And something that I had touched on with Bohemian Rhapsody, which I thought was a fine movie, not an incredible movie, but like a perfectly fine movie. It's almost like people don't realize that Google exists, and that after we get home, we're not going to start wanting to learn more about Mary, Queen of Scots and Queen Elizabeth I and stuff like that, and realize that the real story would have almost been better. And it's not that the story doesn't sort of... It just feels like it's toned down from where it could be. So, like, Mary, Queen of Scots in real life was a lot more, like, cutthroat and vicious than Saiorse plays her in this movie. And I think if you would have told me going in that Saoirse is playing Mary, Queen of Scots, and she's vicious and she's cutthroat, then I would have been even more excited about that. I would have loved to see this other side of Saiorse Ronan, and it loses its steam a lot throughout this movie. It's got all the pieces in place, and everything that leads up to, the production design is great. The cinematography is great. The sound is great. All these things are the editing is great. All these things are right where they should be, but it just feels like there's some things that are, like the script is a little wanting, and you see Saiorse and you see Margot Robbie, and they're both doing great jobs, but they're not doing the amazing work that we've seen before. This is not Saiorse in Brooklyn or Lady Bird or something like that. It's not Margot Robbie and I, Tonya. It's not the aces performances that we've seen from them before. It's just very good performances from amazing actresses, and it's the race car. It's the this is the best restaurant in town, and everyone's raving about how good the food is, and you get there, and it's fine. I mean, it's really good, but it's not the hype is too big. And I don't think that this movie is failing because the hype is too big. I just feel like it's just not reaching for everything that it possibly could, and that's a detriment to the final product and what we would want from the movie. I'll also say this, just sort of about the acting in this. It's outside of Saiorse and Margot Robbie, there are a lot of actors who are doing very good performances, but nobody breaks through. And that, I mean, this is going to just be the touchdown for this whole film. It's got everything you need, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to break through. It's it's the Kansas City Chiefs. You have the best record in all of football. You have home field advantage through the playoffs. You have everything you want on your team to be able to compete for a Super Bowl, and you lose. And it's a tough thing to figure out exactly what didn't live up to the expectations here. Why did it fall short? I'm not trying to blame Josie Rourke for it. I mean, it sounds a lot like, just based off of what I'm saying here, that it was a directorial failure of some part, and I don't think it was that. It feels like. So here's when I talk about how incredibly difficult it is to make movies. I'm not just saying this to build some mystique on it. You have to think that, so you might start this movie with a scene that's halfway through the flick, and to be able to really give what you need out of to get what you want to have an incredible movie, you have to know exactly how this moment that's halfway through the movie that you're shooting on the first day of production is going to feel within the scope of the whole thing put together. And it's such an incredibly hard thing to do. It's such a razor thin margin that you're working with. And if you're just not, if you're not 100% planned, if you're not in on it, if you're not in every single moment of the production, there's opportunities for things to go awry. And it's not, again, it doesn't feel like anybody's fault. It just feels like it had all the pieces, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work as well as it should. When I ascend to the throne, I'm gonna do it via the leaderboard! Saw this flick at Edwards Alhambra, so another one for that. Probably gonna go back again, especially with this sweet ticket pricing thing that they got going on. I feel like I live in Boise or something like that. Onto the movie leaderboard. This one's tough. Again, it doesn't feel like this movie is a failure. It doesn't feel like it's not good. I mean, it's a good flick. It's just not. You feel a little wanted, and that's a hard thing to figure out how to properly rate, because I would love nothing more that if I sat down to do these reviews and every single week I was talking about a movie that was a 9 or a 10, and all I want is these incredible movies to tell you about and say how much I enjoy it. And I really don't take from any negative review that I've ever done, whether it's Aquaman or Rampage or something like that, and think that I go out with my mind on shitting on movies, because I love the art form and I want the best from it. I really do. Sometimes you just gotta go with where your heart takes you on these sort of things. So if I had to give Mary Queen of Scots a rating, I would give it a 7. Again, it's worth seeing. It's probably better to be seen in the context of you don't have anything to do and it's on Amazon Prime or it's on Netflix or something like that. You don't have to rush out to the theater to try and see it before it leaves. It's not transcendent, but it's worth seeing. And I would recommend that if you saw the movie and you enjoyed it, or if you saw the movie and you didn't enjoy it, either way, do a little research on Queen Elizabeth I and Mary Queen of Scots, because it's a wonderfully incredible story of palace intrigue and ascension to the throne and everything like that. And I just feel like it's this one's just wanting a little bit. Anyway, that's it from me. If you want more, you can go to my website, CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoryBakerFilm, at LegendCB5 on Twitter and Instagram. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to check out more reviews as they come out. I had just released my reaction to the Oscar nominations, so if you want to go see that, I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, that's about it for me. Anyway, if you don't mind, I have to be off with my head.